look at that. That looks, wow. I have 3 cats, okay? 3 cats. You know how long I've looked at this lampshade and was like, how do you even clean a lampshade? Up. Should I have put something on there to make it look better? Look. No. Hello. Long time no see. This is just the channel that maybe every 2 years or so I decide, you know what? Remember that thing called YouTube? I'm gonna post on there for about maybe a month, and then I'm gonna leave again for another 2 years. So welcome back. This time we're gonna be relaxed. So let me relax, and we're gonna talk about books. This is just a purely selfish endeavor because I just want to talk about books that I'm reading, that I want to read, that I have read. If anyone joins me on that journey, hello. So today I'm gonna talk about the books that I want to read in March. Will I? Not likely. But it's always good to have hopes and dreams, and these are my hopes and dreams for March. So I have joined 2 book clubs this year. One is with the library, and then the other one is a local bookstore. The bookstore one is called Quarterly Classics. I haven't actually attended a meeting. I did read the first book of the year, which was a John Steinbeck book, and that was so good. I still think about it. The second book of the year, there's 4. Every quarter we read a classic. Watership Down by Richard Adams. I don't really know what it's about other than it follows like a family of rabbits. It follows a band of very special creatures on their flight from the intrusion of man and the certain destruction of their home. The harrowing trials posed by predators and adversaries, and toward the dream of a mysterious promised land and a more perfect society. So I'm really looking forward to it. I already read the introduction by Madeline Miller, and that was a really good introduction because it made me want to start reading the book. Yeah, just follows some rabbits, and I think it's kind of another one of those like man versus nature and that relationship, and then also you're kind of in, I don't know if you're in the rabbits' heads, but you're right there with them, and they still have to act like rabbits. They're not super like human. I think they give them kind of human emotions, but they still are limited in what they're able to do. They're still prey. I am a little worried though that I don't read or watch movies or anything that involve animals because if something bad happens to them, I am gonna get a little emotional. But that's okay, because you know what? I think it's gonna be a good story. I think it's gonna be something that I like. And just going off of the first book that I read for this book club, that was really successful for me. And it wasn't something that I normally would have picked up on my own. I had never even heard of it before. So I'm thinking this will be another one of those. I am planning on annotating it. I don't know how I'm gonna annotate it yet. We'll see when we get there. For my other book club, it's the Jane Austen book club at my local library. We meet every month. We are, reading all of her books because it's the 250th anniversary of her birthday. So big year for all the Jane Austen lunatics, whatever they call themselves. I should probably know. I think I might be one. So we've already read Sense and Sensibility, and then in February we read a retelling of that. March will be Pride and Prejudice, so I'm reading that now, so I'm not reading it in March. And then after that, in April, we'll be discussing a Pride and Prejudice retelling. I am reading this currently. This will be finished before the next meeting, which is in about a week or so. I am annotating it. I've already read it twice before. This is my 3rd time reading, so I think I'll be able to fly through it pretty quickly. And then I don't know what I'm going to choose for my retelling, so I'll need to do that because that needs to be read in March. I have read many Pride and Prejudice retellings before, or variations, whatever they are. I really actually do enjoy them just because it's a story you're already really familiar with, and then you just kind of tweak some things and it's just really fun. So I'm not decided on what that's gonna be. We'll see. These two right here I started in February and I have not finished. This one is Beg, Borrow, and Steal by Sarah Adams. I've read the other two from this series, really liked them, I own them. I only read the first chapter of this and then I was like, you know what, I don't feel like it. So hopefully I'll finish it in March. I think I will like it. It's just, it sometimes is harder for me to get into a contemporary romance. Most of the time, I don't regret reading them. There's some really good ones out there, but I have to be in the right mood, and I wasn't in the right mood. So hopefully in March, I will get this done. And then the other one is Bride by Ali Hazelwood. It's, I think, her first like fantasy kind of thing. It's a paranormal romance, so hello all my freaks out there. It follows a vampire and a werewolf, and it's really good. It's so good. I had originally checked it out from the library and I got however far this is, like I think it was like 60% or something. I was like, you know what, I need to own that book because I am having the time of my life. Obviously there's time for that to change, got all this to go, but I have really enjoyed it so far. This is probably one of my favorite main female characters that I've read in a long time. It took me about a chapter to understand her and kind of be like, what is with this woman? But now I'm however far this is, and I just love her. She is hilarious and so just wonderful. So I'm glad to be in her head, and I want to finish this because it has been a pleasure. And very briefly, you may have noticed all the books that I'm showing you are physical copies. I don't just read physical copies of books. I actually do get a ton of use out of my Kindle. I have this in my bag at all times and just read so much on here. The reason I'm showing you so many physical copies of books is because on my shelves I only buy books if I have already read them and loved them, or I know I'm probably gonna love them or really like them. So I have a pretty decent amount of books that I've read on my shelves, but not enough for me to be like, you know, like it's something I think about and like, I should probably read that. You know, if someone came in here and I was like, what do you think about this? It's a nice cover, I guess. I don't know. So that was one of my goals for the year, is just to read more books on my shelf. Majority of the books that I read every month are digital, either from Kindle Unlimited or the library. So anyways, next book is The Traitor Queen by Danielle L. Jensen. It's the second book in a series following the same two main characters from the first book, The Bridge Kingdom. I don't know, I'm really looking forward to it. The first book, it took me so long to read because I was like, I'm nervous. I read it on my Kindle and I got to the 90% mark. I got to the 90% mark and I put it down for like a year. I didn't touch it for a year at 90% because I got nervous. I was like, something's about to happen and I don't want it to happen, so you know what, I'm putting it down. And then I finally finished it in January. I was like, wow, this was incredible, really. But anyways, following the same couple, Laura, she her actions have consequences from the first book and they have come back to bite her in the butt. So now everyone's like, she's a traitor. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. I think it's gonna be kind of dramatic. And yeah, I've just really liked the world and the characters and the politics. I haven't read a political fantasy type book in a while. And it's still really easy to read. It's not super heavy on that. But I think I'm gonna like this. I'm looking forward to it. And isn't this so pretty? I think these covers are really pretty. I like them better than the previous. I'm glad I just now bought these. This is a series that I started probably like over 2 years ago, and it's one that I rated really, really highly and just loved. I was so glad to be in the world and with the characters. I just thought it was very unique, I guess, and just really fun, and kind of everything that I like in a fantasy. So this is book 3 in the Villains and Virtues series by A.K. Caggiano. Eclipse of the Crown is following the same two. They get their own little trilogy. And I will be honest, I think if I looked at my story graph, it'll say that I started this book, this exact book that I'm holding, in I think 2023, so about 2 years ago. And it has been sitting on my nightstand with this much left to read. Yeah, 90 pages left, and I sat it down about 2 years ago. So similar to the Bridge Kingdom thing, I got to that point in the book, this little point right here, everything was kind of ramping up, and I was like, oh no, I'm nervous for these characters. I don't want to say bye. It's too much. So I set it down. I really like her writing, and then if I do finally finish this, I can move on to a couple of her other books that are still in the same world, still same fun vibes, so I don't have to completely say goodbye. So I'm gonna finish this. And then last one, I think, is Fragile Enchantment by Alison Saft. I can't remember if I read something by her before, or if this has just been on my shelf so long I'm just used to looking at her name. Oh yeah, A Far Wilder Magic. That was a good book. So yeah, A Fragile Enchantment. This one, last I checked, it has been a while, it's been on my shelf for a while. The reviews were pretty polarizing. I feel like no one could agree on if it was good or not. But you know, reviews, they only matter so much personally. So this ended up on my shelves because about, I think 3 years ago now, I read Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. That was a 5-star for me. I have read it a couple times since then because it was so good. So good. But we're not here to talk about that. And I have since then tried to find anything that is just even remotely similar to that book because it was just wonderful. I do partake in a historical romance. I love a Regency romance. You know, like, yeah, I'm having a good time. And I like fantasy, as you've seen by these books. So I think this does say, let me see, Regency England, inspired fantasy world. You've got my attention. I think this girlie, she is a seamstress, and she gets the opportunity to sew a wardrobe for a royal wedding. And the main guy is the groom. We'll see. I just want Regency, fantasy, whimsy, fun, you know? And while we're here, on my Kindle, this one, Karma is a Witch. It's the 5th in a series, Deadlight's Cove. It's by B. Perkins and Amy Vance. It's a paranormal romantic comedy because I have discovered I really like those. Paranormal romances, paranormal romantic comedy, yeah, something about it. Yeah, I like my characters a little goofy. You don't have to be too serious. So this 5th in the series, the characters are a witch and an angel, and we're still following throughout the entire series. There has been kind of like an external conflict for the whole town, and they will be resolving that by the end of this book, I'm assuming. And then lastly, really quick, as I said, I do like a historical romance, and the series that I want to finish, I have downloaded it already. It is Lark Hall Letters by Ashton Newbold. That won't focus. The books are The Matchmaker's Request and then Lord Blackwell's Promise, 4 and 5. Yeah, I'm almost finished with the 4th book, Matchmaker's Request, and then I will do the 5th book, and I think I'll get those finished pretty quickly because it has been a very enjoyable series. The 4th book is the main guy. He has been in the other 3 previous books, and he was kind of playing a little bit of like a matchmaker for his friends. So this book, he's kind of getting his own person after saying that he would never marry, so that's always fun. And then the 5th book follows, we were just introduced to Lord Blackwell in the 4th book, and follows him and then some, I think she's working class, maybe like a maid or something. He kind of like destroyed her life, I guess, I don't know, and he's also like dying, so I think they get married. So I'm looking forward to it. Sounds like a good reason to get married. That's all I've got for today. If anyone watched this, hey, what's up? How you doing? Yeah, that's it. Those are the books that I'm hoping to get to in March. I know I'll for sure get to like the book club ones. The rest of them, yeah, if anyone is here, if I'm not speaking into the void, maybe let me know what you're planning on reading in March. I would love to know. And if you've read any of these books, please tell me what impressions they left. Have a good time reading. Oh. I think in my eye. It kind of stings a little bit. That was this close to getting into my eye. That felt targeted. Goodness.